Good day everyone, I am Maria Jessica Hudan, BE Ed 3. As part of our activity in Assessment of Learning 2, I will be discussing the essence of OBE and OBTL. Also, the comparison of Understanding by Design or UBD and OBE or OBTL. Furthermore, the constructive alignment in the context of the instructional cycle. So, what is outcome-based education or OBE? Outcome-based education or OBE is an educational theory that is centered on outcomes or goals, which means that we are shifting in our focus. We are no longer focused on trying to finish everything that we need to finish for the entire school year. Instead, our focus is that our students should reach the goals or the outcomes that we have set for them. OBE is also known as standards-based education. One very important characteristic of the OBE is that, as I have mentioned, it is focused on the outcomes and not the inputs. When we say inputs, some examples for this would be how many hours students spend in class, or what textbooks are we going to provide them. It can even mean what are the technology that we are going to use inside the classroom, or what are the teaching strategies and techniques that we are going to incorporate. Outcomes, on the other hand, include a range of skills and knowledge that should be concretely measurable. This is where the writings of our learning outcomes or the writing of our learning objectives would come into play. Remember that our learning objectives should be SMART. That means they should be specific, they should be measurable, they should be attainable by the students. They should be result-oriented or relevant. And of course, they should be time-bound. Another thing that we should understand about OBE is that it is focused on criteria and not on the norm. The students are assessed here against absolute objectives instead of reporting the student's achievements compared to that of his classmates. That means norm reference testing or grading on the curve is not done in OBE. Instead, the student is awarded levels, which indicates that the teacher believes that a student has learned enough of the current material to be able to succeed in the next level of work. Having said that, in OBE, there actually has no failing students. If a student is not able to reach the outcomes that the teacher has set in this particular level, the student would just review this or review this level together with his peers. How about outcome-based teaching and learning or OBTL? OBTL focus not on what the teacher intends to teach. The emphasis is on the learning outcomes. This means that our learning objectives must align to the learning activities and assessment for this to achieved. I have here three essences of OBE and OBTL. Firstly, OBE is at the institutional level and OBTL is at the classroom level. Secondly, OBTL is at the heart of OBE, and OBE is the umbrella concept while OBTL fleshes it out. And lastly, in OBE/OBTL, there is a shift from teacher and inputs focus to students' outcomes focus. Now, let's move on to the comparison of understanding by design or UBD and OBE/OBTL in terms of curriculum, teaching process, principles, and assessment. As for their curriculum, OBE/OBTL sets curriculum according to the needs of today's students. What do the students need today? What do the students need so that they can be successful in present-day society? That is the focus of OBE/OBTL's curriculum. While on the other hand, UBD sets their curriculum according to what students should be able to know and do at the end of the program, course or unit or study. This is an overall goal. Secondly, based on the teaching process, OBE/OBTL is focused on helping students reach the outcomes or the goals. UBD, on the other hand, focuses on teaching to achieve understanding or simply teaching for understanding. That is teaching not just for the students to know ideas, concepts, or ways to do things that do not matter in their lives, but teaching to enable students to understand how such things are relevant in various aspects of their lives. Third is in terms of principles. OBE/OBTL have 4 principles. These are the clarity of focus on culminating outcomes of significance, expanded opportunity and support for learning success, high expectations for all to succeed, and expanded opportunities for all learners. While in UBD, there are 6 facts of understanding. These are the capacity to explain, interpret, apply, shift perspectives, empathize, and self-assess, which serves as indicators of understanding. And lastly, for their assessment, OBE/OBTL is based on the levels that track learning skills of the students. Remember that the students are graded as to their levels. There is really no failing students in OBE. Again, if they had not reached the goals in certain level, all they need to do is to revise or to review that certain level before they may be able to go to the next level of achievement. UBD, on the other hand, is based on the student's attainment of desired results. This is where the students is expected to do to demonstrate the desired understanding. We are now discussing the constructive alignment. So, what is it? Constructive alignment is an outcome-based approach to teaching, in which the learning outcomes that the students are intended to achieve are defined before teaching takes place. Teaching and assessment methods are then designed to achieve those outcomes and to assess the standard at which they have been achieved. Constructive alignment is a principle of curriculum and course design that focuses on using learning objectives to shape both your learning activities and the way you assess student learning. There are two basic concepts behind constructive alignment. Firstly, learners construct meaning from what they do to learn. This concept highlights the importance of linking new learnings to concepts and experiences of the learners. This is where prior knowledge bridges them to new learnings. And lastly, the instructor makes a deliberate alignment between the learning objectives in both the learning activities and the learning assessments. These efforts provides the learner with a clearly specified goal, a well-designed activity that is appropriate to meet the objective, and a well-designed assessment that demonstrate to the learner and the instructor extent to which the objectives has been achieved. That's all for today. Thank you for listening.